I hear people talk all the time about their favorite games being perfect. That got me thinking, is it even possible for a game to actually be perfect? To understand that question, I checked the definition, which is to be the best possible type of something. It also means a state of excellence, considered unattainable. So being perfect is a pretty high bar, and in my mind, there's actually only a handful of games that should even be considered. One of those is Tetris, released over 30 years ago in 1989 for the Nintendo Entertainment System, which became one of the most influential and enduring games in history. Originally developed by Russian programmer Alexei Pajitnov in 1984, the NES version of Tetris brought the addictive, tile-dropping gameplay you know and love to a global audience, cementing its place as a video game icon. Even today, it's still enjoyed by millions, with numerous re-releases, including the brilliant Tetris 99. But is this really enough to be considered a perfect game? Let's take a closer look in this Retro Gaming Boss review of the original Tetris on the NES. The gameplay couldn't be simpler, right? The beauty of this game is how the pace constantly speeds up as you progress, challenging your reflexes and spatial reasoning to an infinite degree. All you have to do is keep the blocks from filling up the screen and make as many complete lines as possible. Sounds easy. Now it's one thing to sit here talking about the game, but entirely different to find yourself in the heat of the moment in the later stages, trying to keep your wits about you as the unrelenting pace quickens. With this in mind, I'd like to make my case for whether Tetris is a perfect game by showing exactly how it can feel during those moments. So without further ado, I'd like to share what I call the 3 phases of Tetris enlightenment. The first phase is when the blocks only fill up the bottom third of the screen. At the beginning, you take your time and ensure careful placement of the blocks. Between each, you take a little breath as you settle into the groove and get comfortable with the pacing. It's like taking a leisurely walk along the beach and pausing for a moment to look at the sparkle on the waves while you enjoy the cool wind blowing across your face. You play through a few levels in this phase, feeling good and smiling as you enjoy the catchy 8-bit soundtrack starting to loop over and over inside of your head. The second phase is when the blocks fill up half of the screen, but there's still room to navigate them falling from above. As they rain down at a steady pace, you're ready for the challenge. Each line that blinks away and disappears gives you a pulse of joy. This reinforces your feeling of being in control as you begin to effortlessly complete more and more lines in a perfect state of flow. You move through each level, loving every moment. During the second phase, you've now entered into a meditative and almost zen-like focus that you want to go on forever. But just then, out of the corner of your eye, you see a notification flash on phone distracting you for a fraction of a second. This causes your finger to slip on the controller for the briefest instant, and before you know it, your focus has shattered into pieces like broken glass. After misplacing a few blocks, you try and regain your composure and power through. Your heart skips a beat when you realize that your lines from earlier now have faults that will be hard to recover. You lean in toward the screen and your palms begin to sweat as you enter the third and final phase of this perfectly diabolical game. Here, you've entered the land of no mistakes, an unforgiving zone where there's less than 30% of the screen still clear at the top. Through the force of sheer willpower, you push down a sense of panic bubbling up in your mind. Your brain's now automatically thinking 5 times faster than normal and multitasking to the extreme. Your eyes dart over to identify the next block to come down after your current one, while simultaneously planning out your next 3 moves to complete more lines. Anything to win back some breathing room and open space. At this point, the intensity is now stacking up as quickly as the blocks. You can feel every neuron firing at full speed, giving you a last-ditch, superhuman boost to stem the flood. Time narrows to a standstill as the music is blipping away ridiculously fast. Panic strikes as you hold your breath, mashing buttons faster and faster. And then, a heavy feeling descends when you recognize the inevitability that the final block of death will come to end your game soon. This experience is why I believe Tetris may be a perfect game. As you've seen, Tetris may very well be the pinnacle of game design and gameplay, and here's why. Its deliberate simplicity allows players to focus entirely on the gameplay. It is the perfect example of a less is more philosophy. There's no story, characters, or enemies to distract you here. It's more about competing with yourself as you push through the outer limits of your mind and capabilities. And what could be better than that? The beauty of Tetris is how it relies on a few core elements that create such a pure experience. It also perfectly balances challenge and reward. The instant hit of relief each time you clear out more lines provides a constant rush of accomplishment. The tension between the unrelenting pace and your ability to manage the falling tetrominos is always thrilling. As you know, Phase 3 gets pretty intense, but always in a fun and exhilarating kind of way. Tetris is perfectly replayable. No two games are ever the same, with the randomness of the falling blocks keeping each session unpredictable and fresh. Whether you're playing casually for a short gaming break or jumping into a full-blown OCD play session for hours, Tetris never overstays its welcome. And finally, Tetris has a universal appeal. There's just something about this experience that transcends age, culture, and experience level that appeals to people from all walks of life. This X factor made it a staple of gaming culture and a hit with players of all backgrounds throughout the decades and around the world. So in the end, when we put up Tetris for contention as a perfect game, in my book, it comes pretty damn close. Let's weigh the final verdict against the criteria. Is it the best possible type of something? Absolutely. Has it attained a state of excellence considered to be unattainable? I think so. If Tetris isn't a perfect game, then I don't really know what is. But what about you? Is Tetris really the GOAT? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thanks for tuning in, guys. If you enjoyed this game and review, then hit that like button and subscribe for more feel-good retro gaming. And also be sure to share your favorite memories playing your favorite version of Tetris in the comments below. Alright, my friends, this is the Retro Gaming Boss signing out, and I'll see you on the next one.